Hi, I'm Doc Martin, the lone journalist for KRAC TV with another great book to be reviewed. I hope it's a great book review. It's called Underground, A Human History of the Worlds Beneath Our Feet by Will Hunt. Grand little book, sweet. I never put it down. Once I started reading this, well, I mean, I'd go get a drink or something, but I read all the way through this book immediately. Will Hunt's writing, photography, and audio storytelling has appeared in The Economist, The Paris Review, Review Daily, Discover, The Atavists magazine, and Outside, among other places. A recipient of grants and fellowships from the Thomas J. Watt Foundation, the New York Foundation for the Arts, the Breadloaf Writers Conference, and the MacDowell Colony. He is currently a visiting scholar at the NYU Institute of Public Knowledge. Underground is his first book. Well, I congratulate Will Hunt on his first book because he's actually covering a subject that I like. I guess the reason why I like this is because I've been into mining underground, and being deep underground doesn't bother me at all. It's just... Anyway, he talks about... Well, let me read you the opening here. Somebody wrote, John Valiant, author of The Tiger, writes, Underground is a revelation, a fearless, eloquent, and truly insightful guide. Will Hunt takes us through the hidden worlds beneath our feet, from guerrilla art galleries to ancient sacred chambers to lost worlds inhabited by lost souls. Along the way, Hunt initiates us into a suite of subterranean mysteries that span geography, culture, and time, awakening the dormant but profound allure the underworld holds for us, and as he so pervasively demonstrates, for all of mankind. When Will Hunt was 16 years old, he discovered an abandoned tunnel that ran beneath his house in Providence, Rhode Island. His first tunnel trips inspired a lifelong fascination with exploring underground worlds, from the derelict subway stations and sewers of New York City to sacred caves, catacombs, bunkers, and ancient underground cities in more than 20 countries around the world. Underground is both a personal exploration of Hunt's obsession and a panoramic study of how we are all connected to the underground. And how caves and dark hollows have frightened and enchanted us through the ages. In a narrative spanning continents and epochs, Hunt follows a cast of subterranean files who have dedicated themselves to investigating underground worlds. He tracks the origin of life with a team of NASA microbiologists a mile below the Black Hills, camps out for 3 days with urban explorers in the catacombs and sewers of Paris, descends with an Aboriginal family into a 35,000-year-old mine in Australian outback, and glimpses a sacred sculpture modeled by Paleolithic artists in the depths of a cave in the Pyrenees. That was something. Each adventure is woven with findings in mythology and anthropology, natural history and neuroscience, literature, and philosophy. In elegant and graceful prose, Hunt cures us of our surface chauvinism, opening our eyes to the planet's hidden dimension. He reveals how the subterranean landscape gives shapes to our most basic beliefs and guided how we think about ourselves as humans. At bottom, Underground is a meditation on the allure of darkness, the power of mystery, and our eternal desire to connect with what we cannot see. It sure does. They say even though there's a fear of going underground, people really have that urge. You know, I guess Plato in the cave in Western style started it all. And yeah, the New York stuff, he really went in and he found this guy named R.E.V.S. He was very famous, probably like Banksy is today in the graffiti world. But he would make a canvas of yellow paint, and then he would write on it these messages. And it was all over in the 70s and 80s in New York, and nobody ever met the guy. And they didn't even know where he was or if he was even still alive. So Hunt went around and recorded every one of them that he could get. Several years later, he was talking to somebody, and the guy says, I know Revs, R-E-V-S. Yeah, he's my, I don't know, he lived in his building or something. So he actually got to meet the guy, and they were having a dinner and stuff, but Hunt already had a whole list of stuff he wanted to ask him, and the guy wouldn't say one word, hardly, barely he would do it. He barely acknowledged that was his, and in the end he found out that Revs had taken some alcoves and put the art in there and then bricked it up. So he knew there were places in there that Revs had written that nobody had ever seen before. But he actually told the whole history of his childhood and his feelings and everything. So it's a really fascinating story about a subterranean artist. The catacombs, they were in there for 3 days. It was an amazing place. Miles and miles, millions of bones and stuff like that. And a lot of people he talks about people who've gotten lost in caves. He went down to the Yucatan and went in there. That was famous. Oh, it's just fascinating where this guy went. He went to Australia, hung out with them. And when they did go in the cave, they had to back out of the ochre cave because ochre is a red powder that the Australian originals put their hand up and blow it on there and all of that stuff. So there's 35-year-old cave paintings, and this family has been visiting them for eons, and they agreed finally to take him over there. But when they backed out, they had to take leaves, mandangs, I think they were called, that were the spirits in there. But anyway, to appease them and all, they had to erase their tracks as they backed out of the cave and give thanks that they were allowed in there. So there was a reverence for that. He was the biggest one. He went to La Lakota and found out that the Homestake mine had just went in there and violated a treaty 100 and some years ago and started the world's largest gold mine. So first he went and visited the Lakota and got their permission. Then he got into the mine, and it's been closed, but it still is, there's places in operation. So he went with a group of microbiologists down 4,000. First they went to the 800-foot level in the Homestake mine. Then he went down to the 4,000 to the very bottom of the mine, and there's pipes that shoot out water, and they collected it inside that hot water, a mile underground in solid rock. They were finding microbes. Now the microbes did not normally live in oxygen and light and normal temperatures, so they had to bottle them up and bring them out. But nevertheless, they speculate that perhaps life did get started underground and then migrated above the ground. So fascinating story. Then also, his piece de resistance was visiting a family that had, for 300 years or something, had found a cave on their chateau in southern France near the border of Spain where the Pyrenees is. And he wrote them, and I think he had to wait a year or two to get an invitation. They said, be here on this day and you'll be lucky. So when he got there, there was a German guy that was a speleologist and all, but he got tiffed because he didn't think that Hunt should have been invited on this grand tour of this guy. But anyway, it worked out, and he went with the old man who had some of the original stuff and went deep into this cave and found the paintings from 35,000 years ago that they've been guarding over. So he got a very rare, I don't think he got a picture, or he did, it's not in this book, I don't think. But anyways, it's just a fascinating story. And he talks about the allure of being in the dark, and that when you close your eyes and in the dark, sometimes you see lights and squiggles and stuff. And I was wondering, what is that? All my life I wanted to know. Now it's called an entoptic phenomena. So you do see the lights and stuff. I wasn't crazy after all those years. So anyways, I could just go on and on. He's got some great photos in here. Not much, but they are in here. Yeah, he scatters them through the book. Oh, the ants. He went to Cappadocia, Turkey, and he went into the underground cities in Cappadocia in Turkey, Derinkuyu. It's a fascinating, fascinating story. He even goes down, here's a picture of bomb shelters, about how bomb shelters were built in the 50s and all of that. So he covers the whole gamut from caves to sacred caves, and like they said, he went with everybody he could find, and was very well thought out and planned. And I hope someday to meet Will, and I'll take him underground to some places here in Arizona when he comes to the Tucson Festival of Books. That's coming up here in March of 2024. Thanks for watching KRAZ TV, and I'm the Lone Journalist. That's right, it's called Underground by Will Hunt, a human history of the worlds beneath our feet.